Alright, my friends out there in YouTube land, Rockin' Dave, North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. Welcome aboard, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I thought I'd do something a little bit different. A little bit different with the, being with the acoustic guitar. And showing basically that other side of my playing and, the technique that's behind it. And all of that. It's really not difficult. It just looks like it is. And also, I think some of you commented on my last video I just posted up last night. I really appreciate, first of all, everyone that has participated in the Blues Challenge. And everyone that's going to participate in that Rock Metal Challenge. Yeah, hopefully the audio on that comes out a little bit better. Because when you do stuff that's distorted, sometimes it gets a little tricky. But for everyone that has participated, and I appreciate it, and everyone who's subscribed to my channel too, I definitely appreciate all you guys and gals out there. I really, really do. But with the comments on last night's video, the title of it says the farewell gig, and that's my farewell gig over at La Corte Bistro, the restaurant. I've been playing there solidly for the last 15 months, and unfortunately they have sold to another buyer, and we'll have to see what kind of changes that they make. It was this time that they wanted to move on, and they've had that place for quite some time. They did a phenomenal job. They're very good to both Deb and myself, and really good to miss them. And the elegance, the ambience of the whole place with the classical and jazz style guitar, it was a perfect fit. So we're definitely going to miss them. We hope the best for them and all their ventures. They might be retired, just want to kick back a little bit. Oh, okay, I could see some of the comments now. See, this is how YouTube works. Jimmy T, thank you so much. Hey, JK House of Harley, JJ House of Harley, thank you so much, my friends. I'm going to see if I catch up on this. Thank you very much. R2, R3 locking nut. Tell the ref we said hi, man. I guess Joe Wentz is in like Flynn. We'll have to see, man. Maybe we could, I'll tell you what, I'll see if I could talk with Tyrone, But he have to play rhythm. Tyrone have to play rhythm. R2 and Joe Wentz have to do the lead. But Tyrone have to do rhythm. But that's up to the great Reverend. I love it, guys. Absolutely love it. So it's, yeah, everyone's saying hi to each other. Absolutely. Before I get on talking anything about the technique, I want to share with everyone that I see some of the videos and people that post up, and I agree with a lot of what people will say, but when it comes down to feeling if you're being ignored or anything like anything like that, always take in consideration that people have busy lives, And I hope to God that I've never made anyone feel like I ignore them, because that's everyone, every single one of you out there, definitely matter to me. Um, Without you guys, hey, it would just be me talking to myself. Excuse me, I'm gonna have a little sip of our morning Joe out of the Joe Wins coffee cup, my friends. Look at that. Ain't that badass? Tell you what, can't go wrong with that, right? It happens to taste better than this. Maybe it's the cup. I don't know. But yeah, everyone has busy lives, and for the people that if I've ever made them feel like I'm ignoring them, I really apologize. It's just been very, very crazy. Some of you might have known that we've had a situation. Dale Palmer, how are you? Thank you for tuning in. You might have seen on the world news, uh, it was in the last maybe month, couple months, with the situation we've had down here in Florida with the red tide and the algae. And that's kind of hurt some of the businesses down here. Um, Matter of fact, I was at a meeting when one of the manatees washed up dead ashore, and the news, man, they went right to it. And the fact of it, I was at that meeting, but I had left, and about 10 minutes later, here this thing washes up ashore. The news media's right there, and it put more fuel to the fire. So we're kind of like in this transitional state down here that we should be a little bit more busier than what we are. And due to these situations, when you live in a state that is primarily retired people and tourists, that's great. You're doing well, Dale Palmer. Yeah, I hope everyone is doing well out there. Really do. Don't want to hear anything. When people when people are going through tough times, there's always a solution. And I'll tell you what, I'll never cut anyone down on my channel. No way. That's not cool to do. But anyways, getting back with some of the situations happening down here. You get the red tide and the algae, and it scares tourists away, and you have to make adjustments. And that's why I always say about having a backup plan. Because you never know, my friends. You never know. In this industry, in the music industry, it's always a fluctuating income. And although you don't think about it like where R2, R3 is up in Chicago, and that's where we're from, you really don't think about it, except when you get tornadoes, of course. Back in 1990, those tornadoes that ripped through Plainfield, Illinois, just levitated everything. But you never really think about any type of a natural disaster or anything like that to come through your town, and how it's going to affect businesses and how it's going to affect the entertainment. When you live in an area that's highly populated with, again, seniors, restaurants, hotels, and that, it's going to alter. So having a backup system, and personally, some people might disagree with me, but personally, if you have it as a non-musical backup plan, you will be able to survive, and then you'll be able to help fund your music and keep that going. Because once your financial life is in ruins, your professional, your personal life goes down. It's gonna be harder for you to keep moving forward musically. One thing that gets neglected, even if you have to put gear in the pawn shop, and that's not what I'm saying we gotta do or anything like that. But people will seem to neglect their vehicle. And when you're doing gigs, that vehicle is part of your instrument. You have to maintain it because you have to go from point A to point B. So, that being said, we keep moving forward. We do have other gigs. Matter of fact, Thursday we're going to be at the Blue Monkey. We are going to stream that live. We're looking into another source that YouTube has that Joe Wentz had sent us the information on. So I really appreciate that, Joe. So yeah, all kind of things are going on, and they're exciting. And but again, we're going to miss the La Corte gig. We really are. Those videos will forever stay up there, So, but when it comes down with negativity, the best way how I approach that is just let those people be. And there's a reason why I'm bringing this up, is that whenever someone says something bad about somebody, always remember what you put up on the internet, even if you take it down, once it gets shared, it spreads like wildfire, and everyone sees it, you know. And a good friend, Ed Dana, I guess he put up a video just for like a few seconds, and he took it down. But then, you know, Sonia saw it, and I think EJ's Guitar Jam saw it, and maybe a couple other people. Not that it was bad content or anything like that. It's just proof in the pudding. What you put up, it's good to get out there, and if it gets shared, and then if you make friends with that person that you thought was trolling or whatever they're doing, now you got this video forever up there all over the place, and it's like a constant reminder. That's why I don't like mentioning names. I'll mention situations, but I do not like mentioning names, because I don't believe in trashing or bashing people, you know. Oh, Cheddar. Oh, you know, here, I'll call him Cheddar, because sometimes, my friends, I have a certain hard time pronouncing names. I don't know why. You know, some people have said, well, maybe Dave, that's like being dyslexic. You know, to me, I don't like saying anything like that, because back in our days when we were growing up, you just say, you keep going forward. But Cheddar, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And here's another reason we've been so busy down here, that I have not been able to get on people's live chats. That's why you haven't seen me, you know. So as one gig comes to a close, then you got to shop for another gig, and it's you become a salesman, not just a musician, but a salesman. And with that being said, you know, there's nothing wrong. Dropped off there, you know. Sorry, guys. When you're trying to sell yourself, your act, your gig, your whatever it is you do, and those selling stages, my advice, and just you can take it for what it's worth. There is a difference between having an ego and being confident. You know, an ego, we all know what that is. And unfortunately, some people have them, and, you know, we hope that they could change and whatever, you know. But if you, at the same time, there is a big difference between devaluing yourself and humbling yourself. When you go out to sell yourself, if it looks like you're going to devalue yourself and then you're trying to raise money, it's going to be very difficult for you to do that, because what a person that, let's say they want to invest money in you, what they're going to see is that you don't even have the confidence in yourself. So why should I have the confidence? And I'm the one that you're coming to, let's say, you know, to help fund your project. So you have to be very, very careful, because the business of music is also that, a business. And no matter what degree it is, whether you're trying to sell out an arena, you know, always remember, the more money that you're going to make, the more that's at stake, the more you're going to have to really work it. You know, nothing comes free and easy. Or if you're trying to sell yourself to get down to the local club down the road, it's really no different. Sometimes the local club down the road is even difficult, because people are undercutting each other's throats out there, you know. They'll underbid each other to get to a point where they got the gig, and maybe someone sitting in the audience has got a function going on, and then they'll hire our band as opposed to the next guy's band. So it becomes very important how you go about the process of selling yourself if you want to go out there and make money. And that being said, for people who don't, who just do this for pleasure, man, I'll tell you what, this is where you're going to shine. Because you'll never have to feel like you got to be on the spot. You won't have deadlines. You could post up videos on YouTube, which I really think is a great thing. I will never cut a person down if that's all they're doing, because they're taking advantage of, and in a polite way, an advantage of a service that we have, that for some of us that have, you know, that are older, we never had this in the 70s and 80s and even the 90s. So, you know, this is a time to shine. But at the same time, you know, I would never cut those people down. But at the same time, if you're a person that has a lot of experience and knowledge, other people should not try to devalue that person. And when I see that go on, I was like, okay, I think, okay, that's, hopefully they'll change their ways. But you get caught devaluing somebody, it will come back to you. And that's not meant to hurt anyone's feelings out there. It's just to let people know that there are people that I know that will watch my channel that have nothing to do with YouTube. It's because they'll work with me or their neighbors, and hey, that's cool, Dave. You know, you got a channel on. It's like you're on TV or something. and then they'll watch for a little while, and then they'll come and tell me these situations. So think about it. If the average person that's, let's say, your grandma or grandpa that really has nothing, no desire to get on Facebook or anything like that, but they lived a long life and they could spot this and they see this, this is going to be in their conversation, this is what's going to come up. So it is important how people treat each other out there. Now, at the same time, when you got someone that's, I guess, trolling, to me, if you guys correct me out there if I'm wrong, trolling to me would be someone that goes on everyone's channels, they give a thumbs down, they got something snotty to say, and they go off to the next, and they try to get this person. To me, that would be trolling. I mean, I could be wrong, because I'm still new to this, to the point where the, how can I say, the background of getting, videos up and editing and all that stuff, that's all still new to me. But for a person, if they get on my channel and then they want to sub to someone else's channel and hoping that that person will sub to them, hey, go ahead, because I'm not Google, I'm not YouTube, and I don't own it. It's a platform to share, in my opinion, okay? But I do not own Google. Technically, trolling is when you go around saying stuff just to get people upset. Yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, Cheddar, I really appreciate that, And, but for people that do that, there is ways you could use diplomacy and, think about this. You help someone out and you turn their perspective around to the point where that now they don't want to do that. Now they want to be cool with everybody and they feel the acceptance, and then internally they push that old self of themselves, they push that away, and they start becoming a new person and, looking at things. The reason why I say this, I'm going to say looking at things at a more positive perspective. The reason why I'm saying this is because we have a great platform in the guitar community right now. And there is so many great people out there. You couldn't count them all. That's how many great people are. But if it were to go bad to the point where now people start, how things start, there's a little bit of a dispute turns into an argument turns into a fight or a threat. You see, now we're starting to get in some dangerous territory where Google could say, hey, I just happen to, I play guitar too, someone working at Google, and they happen to get on YouTube and they check out the guitar community and they start seeing all this. And if they have any type of a power or say so and say, hey, we got to shut this down, because if someone gets threatened and they come after us, now we're liable. So the best way to avoid a lawsuit is shut everything down, And no one wants to see that happen, That's kind of like, I don't know if anyone out there have seen these ads on Craigslist, and it's got nothing to do with Craigslist. It's people posting it up. A guy put up a video saying that musicians, their job when they go to get a gig is to sell liquor. Okay. When you first think about this statement, you could think about, okay, maybe they're right, but then be very careful, because you see, if you go around saying that, yes, I play at this place and I help them sell liquor, and then someone leaves that place at closing time, and they're highly drunk, they drive and they get into an accident, and you're caught blabbing all over the place that you help sell liquor, and God forbid there's an accident and a fatality, the lawsuits that come out, whoever had put themselves to that situation, now you could be summoned to go to court. I'm not saying you will, but you got to be very careful what you put your name to, because stuff happens out there. Stuff really happens out there, and you just got to be careful. That's all. We got good people out here. That would really be sad to see the whole thing go down the toilet, And if anything I say is incorrect, you guys are more than welcome to correct me out there, because I am not a know-it-all. I share my experiences because this is what I've gone through. Deb and I have been doing the tour gig, I guess you want to call it the self-funding road shows for like 20 years. And I could tell you how how tough it could be out there. So that's why we got a really great platform. So when people put up videos of them playing, yeah, it's a performance. It's a performance. So yeah. And you know what? This is what's so cool with YouTube. There's so many good people out there that have great information. I mean, far more than myself. And I learn from everyone out there. Let's see. I wish they would leave comments, Dave. Yeah, R2, I see you're right. They put a thumbs down. If there's a reason why they don't like it, then, say it. Dave, I don't like that flamenco style guitar. Or I don't like the shred guitar. Or I don't like Ibanez. Or I don't like, there's something about you I don't like. That's fine. You know what? Because we're all going to find something that's in common, being from Chicago, I'd say it's either the Cubbies or the Sox, and then there's a big debate right there too. You know what I mean? But it's how you have to get along with people. Here's something that we had to do. Okay, and R2, I know you could definitely relate to this. When you live in Chicago, it's the Bears, right? Unless you do like another team. Okay, so we'd play up in Wisconsin, either at the Renaissance Fair, I'd done a lot of gigs up there, or the Taste of Wisconsin, done a lot of gigs up there. Now I'm in Green Bay territory. So I would always respect the places that I'm at, and they could bash whatever team they want, and I would never put my 2 cents in, unless you want to do it as a friendly debate. And then, then it's kind of just doing it in a friendly way. But I would always keep my comments to myself and just let people talk, because as a musician, when you're doing a lot of traveling, you are a guest in their territory. And that's something that has to be remembered. Yeah. So yeah, they don't leave a comment, but and don't say why. They make fake, oh yeah, I see accounts and hide. I can never understand that. And again, we dropped out. Now we're back again. See? Yeah, Jason Wade, what's happening, my friend? Ed Dana, oh man, Ed, I like your stuff, man. Let's see. Oh, hey, Jason, thank you, man. I'm just going to try to catch up real quick, and then I'm going to start getting on the technique that's behind it. Yeah. I have actually 2 accounts, R2. And the reason why I have 2 accounts, and it's all under the same name. It's all music videos. The very first account, that's when we were still living in Aurora, Illinois. And that's because we were doing everything off the little Zoom Q3 Blue camera, and Deb would upload the videos. And she knows about that, and I don't. Once I learned, when we moved down here, how to do that from the phone, that's what started that second account. But I got nothing to hide, and it's not because I want to be 2 different people. It's just that my ignorance of technology, it's the only way I was able to do it. So that's why I have 2 channels. Yeah, I have a second channel account for watching. Yeah, okay, and you know what? I wouldn't want people to find out about that or wait. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Whatever another person's interest is, this is where it becomes a good thing. Let's say you have multiple streams of income, and you have you have small businesses, a couple of them. And sometimes you have to separate yourself from one from the other. That's where it becomes vital, okay? As a musician, when we solicit high-end gigs, very seldom you'll see me walk in, trying to sell high-end like that. I love this. It's cool. But you see, you have to know how to play the game out there. And when I walk in with this, and my hair pulled back, and if I'm wearing all black, nice tuxedo, whatever, boom, I get the gig. But see, equally, I love playing this style as well as the rock and metal. And, throwing the guitar around, it's fun and that. But, I feel very blessed. It's a gift from God that I could play these multiple styles. But I try to sell them as that style. That's why at the restaurant, I'm doing all the stuff. Okay, sorry guys, this happens a lot. Went shopping at your favorite store, Sweetwater. Oh yeah, I know, right? Cheddar, I've seen that. The 11 rack for only $199. I've got a friend and former guitar student that's got the 11 rack, and I think when they first came out, only a few years ago, They were like $1,200 or something like that. You see, this is what I mean, guys. And I'm sure the 11 rack sounds great. I mean, absolutely sounds great. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. And that's a great price. And, oh, guys, I must be like in a dead spot or something, you know? Yeah, I must be in a dead spot or something because it keeps, going down. I hope everyone had a very safe and happy Thanksgiving. What's so weird about being down here in Florida is that the leaves don't change. It's like a never-ending summer. I'm inside. I was going to do this outside, but it's like 90 degrees outside, and the humidity, the dew point is up. That's what causes your humidity, your dew point. So that's what I'm inside. But it's so weird. You don't, yeah, guys. Yeah, I must be down losing the signal. I don't know if I'm pixelating or doing whatever. Trying to catch up on some of these chats. But Jason Wade said something interesting about having a sexy way of playing. Okay, so this style of guitar, yeah, flow must be hell on. It is, but there are times it isn't. It's so bizarre, and this guitar in particular does not. Times it isn't. It's so bizarre, and this guitar in particular does not have a truss rod. Suave train wreck. I'm glad that he went live. I like what he's got to say too. He had a guy talking about truss rods and all kind of stuff, and what makes the guitar stay in tune. Okay, I'm not saying the guy doesn't have a point. Maybe he's learned to building. I'm not a guitar luthier. Okay. However, classical guitars, for the most part, are known. Classical and flamenco guitars are known for not having a truss rod. Your string tension is nylon string, so if you have electronics, you get even distribution sound-wise, because you don't have thick strings pushing down harder on one element and then the other one is a little bit light, you know what I mean, as far as pressure. But as far as the neck is concerned, the necks are built solid. And if you think about it, a lot of these guitars are built in Spain. In certain regions in southern Spain, it gets hot and humid. So you don't really need that, although there are some guitars now that will have truss rods. Guitar Hack, how are you, my friend? Great seeing you. And I like your videos as well, Guitar Hack, and all the rehearsals. Oh, wow. What's going on with the dropouts? Okay. But yeah, so let me kind of discuss a little bit on the technique, okay? So this technique of what they call roscados, okay? I do it backwards. I do it with my index finger, where it's really taut like this. Now, if I would practice it, of course, I would get it. But you know what? I've been doing this almost from day one. I think I started fiddling with this, I don't know, maybe 1980, something like that. Because actually I started on a nylon string guitar with no pick, Now here's the thing with this. When I had people ask me about these picks, and I used to hate these, but the advantage with these big picks is that when you're playing hard on your fingernails, you got to protect them. And then the thumbnail sometimes gets all screwy, because stuff like this could be very hard on the nails, especially on a steel string, But basically, it's just like what when a drummer does a flam, that. It's that. It's a very percussive way of playing guitar. So, that in conjunction with tapping on the body, it gives this sensation of that there's percussion there. And what I like about it personally is when I have to do anything heavy metal on the acoustic, it's like everything is right there, minus the whammy bar, of course, and minus the distortion. It gives me like this total freedom of improvisation. I could do everything with just one guitar, and very seldom, I mean extremely very seldom, will you pop a string. Where you're gonna pop a string on nylon strings is your D string, because the winding starts to unravel there and it starts to pull. But anything else, you know, these strings last forever. Now, I also do use a pick. I'll tell you what, my friends, thank you so much for putting up with this. This is crazy with these dropouts, you know. Yeah, bass, yeah, people call it a bass pick, you know. And then I've had people tell me, Dave, you don't use a pick with nylon strings, you know. If you want to be a traditionalist, that's fine. But the thing is, everything evolves, okay? So you have to sometimes be a little creative. Okay. With the pick, I don't have to worry about my nails so much. And, I mean, I could do, excuse me, guys, I could do pretty quick with... Now, there's also what they call a rest stroke. What that means, you pluck the string and your finger rests on the next string. You're going to get a lot more projection that way. But with tremolos, you know, I'm just using 3 fingers there. That's why when I do scales, I do 3 fingers on my right hand. So, I was showing one of the waiters at the restaurant last night, because he plays guitar, the easiest way, if anyone want to learn how to finger pick, the easiest way, and do this in a way that you're not going to go like insane from just, you know, an exercise, right? But the easiest way to get the concept, very seldom will I use my pinky, okay? I'll do it, I'm doing like that, but very seldom. But for, let's say for tremolos, or just for finger picking, let's just make life simple. If you take a simple D minor chord, you got 4 strings you're hitting. If you want to learn how to get at least your thumb and your 3 fingers going, simply do this. Thumb will pick the D string, index finger picks the G string, middle finger picks the B string, ring finger will pick the high E, then come back down. It's like walking up and down stairs. I hope y'all could see that. And try not to, you know, if you can, try not to, I mean, sometimes I'll do that, rest my pinky, but when you need to do something like this, now I know that's going like fast, and I'm not trying to confuse people, but the reason why I could go at those patterns because I'm not like planted anywhere, you know. So, unless you guys could develop it, then absolutely go for it. But really, it is the easiest way. If you think about it, it's like you're walking upstairs and then you're walking back downstairs, but you're just doing it with your fingers. Now, if you notice, with my D minor chord, I release my index finger on my left hand to play open E. Pinky comes down to play the G, then I come back down to play my F. I come back down to play my F. So it's basically you're playing a D minor chord, and my melody is F, E, G, and back to F. And by doing this, you will have, over the course of time, you'll be able to develop the technique. Over the course of time, you'll be able to develop the technique. Isn't that something? Technology. Dropouts, and we're back live again. And there's so many, and I will post up videos of the different ways you could approach finger picking. You know, there's so many ways you could go about it, but that's one of the easiest ways to do that, is to understand finger independence. I'll tell you what, when we joined GFA, which is Guitar Foundation of America, we were very serious, especially in the early days, in the early 2000s. Very seriously, I was going to get involved in their competitions, their international competitions. And I'll tell you what, you got to be tremendously good. Not popular, but tremendously good. And there is a difference, okay? You got to know how to read notation, which I know how to do that. I'm just not a real fast sight reader, but I can look at a chart and go over it, you know. Your technique, your playing has to be always flawless, okay? And I'm not mean sweeping arpeggios, always fast, there's that. Everything, down to the last nuance of, let's say you're doing something like this. You know, your everything, your attack on the strings, it's everything. And then get used to playing with absolutely no electronics. It's not a big deal for me, you know, because I always practice without being plugged in. So you have to learn. You'll have to learn how to project the sound, because in that situation, that scenario, you'll be playing and the microphone will be about 18 inches away from the sound hole. So all your dynamics is going to come from your hands, you know. And when I say that there's tremendously great classical guitar players out there, just type them in and you're going to see what I mean. It's unbelievable. Totally unbelievable. Don't look for flash. Don't look for speed. Look for, how can I say, almost near 100% perfection. And that's what I mean. And, but, you know, I like playing the electric guitar as well, you know. And I like playing with the pick, you know. Being able to get this staccato playing. You know, I'm a little out of practice. You know, I was a little bit tired when I woke up, but you know. But that's why I prefer, for me personally, the staccato playing versus what they call legato, or they would say slurs. And it's only because if you have to do a continuance cycle or playing like a circle of yeah, a circular motion. You know, the staccato is like bam right there. It's very percussive. Let's see. You should be teaching like well, thank you. Actually, you know, Jason Wade, one of my good friends and my students that I taught, he went on to go to Berklee College of Music. And, well, you're very welcome, and thank you for watching that. You know, classical guitar music it's like at a totally different realm of playing, but I would never put it that it's better than any other style of music. Never put it that it's better than any other style of music. It is more challenging, where it becomes more challenging even than jazz, and I love playing jazz and the jazz fusion. Where the challenge comes in true classical guitar playing, you will not use a cutaway, you will not plug the guitar in. So your dynamics comes 100% from your hands. But, you know, jazz has a groove to it, you know. Blues has a groove to it, rock and metal, all of it. But yeah, one of my students, he went on to go get his degree. He got his degree in production at the Berklee College of Music, and boy, I'll tell you what, man, he said he ran into some phenomenal players, you know. And but he was smart by going into production, because right now he works for Disney. He's down here in Florida. He's up in Clearmount, Florida. And he just drives, you know, about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes over to Disney and does all the sound and lighting for Walt Disney. And he's got a great job there. But it's, you know, I appreciate that, Jason. It's just, to me, I am such a self-taught musician. It's like I don't know any other way except that. And it's not that I couldn't raise money, you know, and go to college, but what stopped me from doing that, something that my grandfather had told me. He said, listen, look in the want ads and see the demand for guitar players versus plumbers, HVAC guys, electricians, you know. And he was just looking after my best interest. But, you know, when you're young, you know everything, right? You know what I mean? We get very, very We know we're going to take on the world. And it was definitely a different time back then. Definitely a much different time. But the reason why I didn't, I thought about it, and he told me, you already know how to play. And then when I started getting together with people and doing these gigs, and that's how I was able to learn the whole fretboard. That was my way of communicating. I would listen to everybody talk during the breaks at rehearsals, and then you know how people are. They talk, and they bring up different subjects. And they'll talk about, yeah, I got to pay my student loan here. I got to pay this. I got to pay that. I got to raise money. This. I started really, really thinking about this. I think I started hearing my grandfather's words ringing in my head because I heard all these other musicians, phenomenal musicians too. I always surround myself around people that are better, have more knowledge. That's how you learn. But at the same, and you'll definitely learn, because then when I would go together with my friends that had common knowledge, they had street knowledge, they knew how to treat people. I'm not saying people that are smart don't know how, but what I'm saying is that I would hear these people talk and complain about the student loan, and they're not making that much money at the gigs. And I thought to myself, how am I going to sustain myself if I put myself in high debt? Now I have to worry about another factor. Not just cost of living, paying for bills. Now I got this incredibly huge student loan, and I am not knocking it. So if anyone wants to go to college for music, absolutely go for it. But keep in the back of your mind, when you see people that are waiters and wait staff, or if they got a CDL license or they have anything, they're doing it because they have to do it. It's a need. It's not a want. Your needs will help pay for your bills. So this way you could start and go ahead and fund your music. If you want to go to music college, that's fine. Absolutely, it's a great experience. But I would have people, and I'm sure some of you out there could relate to this, where we would have people in your rehearsals maybe talk down to you because you're not college educated as a musician. And that's the mistake that they make, because they seem to forget that when you go out as a performer, those people that come to the shows could care less what you say you know. They're going to judge you on how you conduct yourself and how you perform. And no matter what you do, you could show them like a picture on your phone of your master's degree, your doctorate's degree. They're going to turn around and tell you what they really think just based on what they heard you play. And that's how that is, So, but we live in a society that's kind of noisy. So now it's more accepted to plug these in, And what it has done for us, having these different styles of music that we could draw from, it's opened up more doors of opportunity. But I'm going to share with all of you guys and girls out there, keep in mind that everyone is going to look for a service and want to pay as less money as possible. If you're a DJ, how much, and could you come in at this price? When we did our birthday gig last week, we had a great time. And when I was done playing, they had a DJ set up, and he's a great guy, real nice guy. But hardly anybody's paying attention to him. I go inside, one band is setting up, and then they're starting to play. Hardly anybody's in there paying attention. And I think our good friend out there, Guitar Hack, has also mentioned, man, I'm playing my heart out on this guitar solo, no one's paying attention. That's what's happening. It's become an oversaturation out there with the sound. And then there is a young guy with a channel called, this is not, where they're parked. Oh, from South Africa. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you what, guys. Janice, how are you? I'm a little bit behind in the chats, and I apologize about that. Down in Texas, I know Austin, Texas, they'll have this, some of the schools down there, they have, and I'm talking about public school, elementary, they got a classical guitar program, and you would never think that, because you think Texas is blues and country. But they do have a great musical program, It's all on how you sell it, And so I'm just trying to catch up with. If that's in for, yeah, a lot of people, when you see anyone play this style, you will immediately, immediately think that they're from Spain or they studied in Spain. And I've had that, and I had people ask me that I don't know how many times. And the fact of the matter is, I'm a Chicago guy that moved to Florida, and I just have the absolute love of this style of playing. And the first time I actually heard it was there's two ways. The first time I heard solo like classical Spanish guitar. One was while I was watching the old Night Gallery show, and they had one of the stories was called Cool Air, and it was about a scientist who was dead and he was preserving his body. But the whole backdrop of the music was classical guitar, and I thought, wow, this sounds really intricate. That was more drawn into the music than the actual storyline. Another one was Merv Griffin. I think he had on Charo, and when we were little kids, our parents would have us go to bed early, so they're up watching the program. But I heard the guitar being played like that, and it just, there's certain things in life that you hear that just never leave you. It just drew me in, and that's what caused the interest. And then when I first learned guitar, it was on a nylon string guitar. So all this, another way how I developed the tremolo technique, in high school, always being impatient and doing this. And if you notice what my fingers are doing, they're doing what would be, even though I'm using my pinky there, the first techniques of tremolo. So if I go like this, I'll tell you what, you do this for a while, and it should be like second nature. You do anything for a long enough period, it'll become like second nature. We go see free students, recitals at the university, and sometimes it's guitar, sometimes thrash metal. And you know what? That's real interesting. Here, I'm glad that you mentioned this, because did you know that some of the recordings, and Mark, he shared this with me, some of the music industry will use interns at these colleges, let's say at like Berklee College of Music, because they have nothing but top-notch recording gear and a recording studio. So they have the professor there that, he's got like a gazillion years experience and knowledge in doing sound and recording. So when the industry is experiencing, like we had, obviously everyone knows about the tragic market crash. So when people are low on funds and yet they have these contracts and they have to get these albums out, they'll go to some of the colleges and they'll get interns, because you don't have to pay a union engineer. And if you think about it, these students, they're going to school, let's say, for sound engineering and recording, so they need to get their feet wet, and they're going to be supervised by an experienced sound engineer that's now a professor. So it's no different. I think Guitar Hack says he teaches at a college. He teaches electrical, the Ohm's law and Watt's law and all that. Well, when I went to ETI for heating and air conditioning, a lot of my instructors were retired field men, whether they were in a union or whatever. They were all out in the field. They did the work. They were installers. They were repair guys, technicians. They had the experience and the knowledge, so now they're teaching. So it's the same concept with like Guitar Hack. The only difference is you're not going to take your furnace and pull it out of your house and take it where Guitar Hack is teaching, say, fix my furnace, and then we'll drive it back and reinstall it, It's not going to happen. But the concept of free, seeing someone for free, is, you will see these recitals. And if you think about it, you're going to see some of the greatest musicians coming out, because first of all, they're hungry for it. So they are hungry to go and perform and do everything as top notch as possible. And you're going to see a great performance. That's like if you go to see not a little league team, minor league teams. Sometimes the minor league teams will play better than the major because of the hunger. They want it so bad, and they feel they have to prove themselves. It's no different, guys, and I know a lot of you can relate to this. Back in the day, in the 80s, when we really had to have our chops together. It was not a popularity contest, and I'm not knocking it because, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Same with sound, it's in the ear of the beholder as well. But there was a time where we had to have our chops together because, there was so many great musicians out there, and the music industry. What I liked about those times back then, they did embrace good musicianship. Now it's whatever's popular, and that's kind of sad because that'd be like going to the Olympics and see someone that could barely stand up, and you're gonna give them a gold medal. You know, I'm sorry. There is good times where we are all gonna lose. I've lost a lot. And I'm not gonna complain about it. I should have a medal. No, no. But it's real sad what's been going on with all that. And I hope I'm not babbling on about something that doesn't make any sense, guys. Just kind of sharing certain things. But let me get back to what Suave Trainwreck. This guy he had on. The guy was talking about building guitars, and he made a comment about no, you don't have to stretch strings. Well, if he's got something, a new way of keeping the strings in tune, that's great. I've always done that, like a lot of us have. Like yesterday, I put new strings on the Ibanez. I stretched the living crap out of them. I was able to do my practice exercises, and it's in tune. So, whatever method really works for you. My only question is when a person wants to go such on a debate, and I've never really had this, so, is where is their experience actually going out there in all different climates to put the proof in the performance? In other words, if I would tell somebody how great this guitar is, but I never play it, how are you going to be able to, why would you want to buy it just based on its looks? And then this particular Cordoba, we got this, let's see, this is the model CWES. We got this in 2001. It says made in Spain. Hopefully it is. I don't really care. It's a great guitar, but it was on sale for $800. It was going for $1,000. It's the model just under what they call the Gypsy Kings model. But if you didn't hear it being played and you just look at it, why would you want to spend $800 for this when maybe you could spend $200 for something that looks just like this? If there's no proof in the performance, how am I going to be able to sell you something? That's the only thing. The guy's got good intention. He probably knows a lot more about building than myself, But, so, and also, go to the college for most of those jobs. Yeah, most of those jobs, push button. And yeah, you know what? Old man Dan, it's always great to see you. See, I'm catching up with the chat, and I really apologize about this, guys. You know what? Some people have took it the wrong way when I'd be teaching back up in Illinois, and I would tell them before you spend all this money in a music program, make sure you really, really want it, and sit in on open mics. Really get used to people not clapping for you. Get used for people not even paying attention to you. Get used to people giving you criticism. Get used to develop what they call thick skin out there, because you are going to need this. And this way it's going to develop over the course of time. If you're in this for the long haul, you're gonna grow thick skin, and nothing is gonna really bother you. You're gonna take what they say, with a grain of salt, whatever, but take it politely and understand that they say something that maybe we can't see. When people tell me something, maybe it's something that I really can't see. So, let's see. Yeah, let's see. I know. Yeah, I'm probably reading this totally all wrong. Yeah. But it's like anything else that you do out there. One of my students, he was very good guitar player. And he also had excuse me, an interest in mechanics. He was very mechanically inclined, and he would ask me, Dave. Excuse me, guys. He'd say, Dave, my parents say, why don't we go to this university, that university, but I think I want to go to a trade school. And he made a comment that my dad looks down on trade schools. And I says, no. I says, you know what? Understand where Dad's coming from, but the reality is, I went to a trade school, and within 1 year, it was 3 nights a week for a year straight. Very accelerated program, because that's how trade schools usually are. I worked for 2 companies. It cost me $10,500. Broke off, took my test, got my contractor's license, and with the money from the first house we did all by ourselves. It was a 2-story, 1 furnace, 1 AC unit, with a humidifier and all that. I made enough money I could pay the whole loan off, boom, and have money left behind, money in the bank. But we did our payments. That's, we were able to do that. But my point is that some people will look down at it because they think the trades are below intellect, and that's so untrue. So untrue. When I see people down here with these yachts and these boats, they did it from a blue collar job. Most of them did, or maybe about half of them. I shouldn't say most of them. So I never look down on people when they got to do things to help themselves out in life. Because music, I'm telling you guys, music could be very, very, very fluctuating. Yeah, Charo is an amazing player. You see, I'm probably so behind in the chats. I see a blue arrow going like this, meaning, hey, you got some more. You've been talking too much. Yeah, needs versus wants, thrash metal. Also, like, yeah, yep. There's, see, a lot of you, I'm glad that people see this, and I'm not trying to be a know-it-all and say, yeah, okay, he's the first one coming out. No, I think it really does need to be said, because I've had situations where I had guitar students, they were seniors in high school, and they would believe anything that was told to them, and of course, I was the same way when I was that age. And you would have people back then tell you in a way that would almost turn you off, you know what I mean? But when it's a person holding a guitar, or they're like sharing the same interests as you, and they try to tell you, hey, do what you want, never let go of your dreams, but watch, be very careful, because there are people out there that are biased, and you have all that other stuff going on. Just be very, very careful and be smart. And don't spend a lot of money if you don't have to. Again, I think Jason, you mentioned about the 11 rack. $199, $199. Now, let's see. Here's a perfect example of technology sounding great, but see how the value dropped? I am not opposed to anybody that wants to buy the Framus guitar, the new Line 6 Helix, the new one that's coming out that's not out yet, that's $500 more. Maybe I'm exaggerating here, guys. But my point is that you do what you want. But when I had people tell me, no, see, Dave, you need to use this, and no, you can't use a transistor amp, and you can't, no, that's when, and they do very little performances. That's where I will take their advice. I will listen to what they got to say. And I think it's great, because everyone does have some good advice. But it's only, at that point, it's only opinionated because it hasn't been proof in the pudding. You know what I mean? When it comes to, I'll agree with Guitar Hack about the multi-effects into some of these amps, yeah. But the trick is how you EQ things. That's the trick. It's like anything else. You really have to play with it. Really have to play with it. The only reason why I don't like using a whole lot of gazillion pedals is when those patch cords do go out. Do you know which one went out during your performance? And I'm not saying if you're doing a bar gig, because that's where you have like a little bit of a safety net if the bartender or the bar owner is not paying attention. It is when you do corporate events and you're doing very high-end gigs and where everything has to be like perfect. And if you have a gazillion pedals and something goes off, and now you're there playing with something, and you hear through the speakers, and you know people when they drink it. See, rich people drink like this. Wealthy people they drink like this, and they have hors d'oeuvres and that. And when you've disrupted their event, and it's due to something as simple as a little patch cord. Now this is where you could almost hit like a panic button, because now everyone is really paying. That's when they're going to pay attention to you. Not when you're playing your heart out. It's when something goes wrong and they see that, well, geez, what's wrong with this guy? Looks like he's having a bad day. And we got to pay this guy? And look at what, you know, this is what I mean. There's always pros and cons, though. A multi-effect unit will come dangerously close, but it'll never replace what a tube amp could do. Tube amps, I love the way they sound. No doubt about it. But because when I started playing, and I had crappy gear, and I wish to God I could find all those amps again, because if I do, I'll buy one, and I'll show you guys exactly what it was that I had. It's a Blabfest. Remember, that's right. Hey, thanks, buddy. When it comes to really cheap gear, I had it, man. I'm talking about if people out there think that these Squire packages and you know a little tiny amp that's like this, at least those little amps now that are like that, they are actually engineered to sound good. The stuff we had, we'd buy at the pawn shop back in 1976, 1977. No one cared, man. You were literally taking a speaker out of, let's say, a mono stereo, or not stereo, mono radio, and stick it into a big box, wiring up, and now you're calling it a guitar amp, you know? I mean, it was horrible what we had. But we had to pull a sound out of it. So that's why I know when I approach all this stuff, I approach what can I get out of it that I can make it sound good, that I don't have to spend a whole lot of money. And if it lasts, and I could deal with that sound, and I grow to really, and I'm not telling people what to do, but if you could grow to like that sound, and you could pull a good sound out of it, I'm not gonna take money out of the bank if I don't have to, man. I mean, and I'm not saying I don't care about my tone. I do, but I also care about draining my pocketbook. Because now look at the 11 rack is $200. Nothing worse than you'd spend, let's say, $1,200, and then 3 years down, your friend buys it brand new for $200. You know, at some point, geez, you know what? There's like a $1,000 difference right there. Yeah, how to sell. Ask yes questions. Get over objects. Yep. That's just it. How you have to perform with, oh yeah, R2. Remember back in the day at the Thirsty Whale, people would stand there with their arms crossed. You know? And we used to take 6x9 speakers out of the rear dash. Yeah, see, Ed, you know what I'm talking about. Man, we had some tough times back then. And, you know, you only had really basically, you had only a couple of manufacturers making pedals. Boss, MXR, Ibanez came out later. Digitech DOD. DOD was the answer to the poor man who couldn't afford the Boss pedal. Because there was a point where MXR was going out of business. I do not remember Dunlop always owning MXR. I'm pretty sure MXR was its own company. That's like, I know for a fact. Now, unless Dunlop was a partner to Thomas International, I have my original Crybaby Wah pedal that was made in Chicago from Thomas International that made pedals for organs. So, I remember when Fender first came out with effect pedals back in the early 1980s. I had a parametric EQ pedal. You know, I remember a lot of this stuff because that's all what we had, you know. And then the rack mounts came out. And a lot of you guys remember when the rack mounts came out, everyone said, who wants to deal with pedals when we got these rack mounts, you know? Now it's like, who wants the rack mounts when you can have boutique pedals, you know? So everything's always going to go back and forth. Always. But what's nice with this, you take it out of the case, you're good to go, man, you know? Another thing I want to touch base on real quick, and I hope I don't want to take up everyone's time. I don't know if anyone has seen the Tone King's recent video on the Sophia whammy bar, locking tremolo. Like it's the would be a replacement for the Floyd Rose. Great concept, but it's not really a new concept with that flywheel on the back that will send the bridge back to zero. Because Ibanez did have little while back, maybe 10 years ago, their zero return trem. And they had a little flywheel. You could adjust it so that you would not need to put a block in between to stop the bar from going up. But what I like about this, Sophia whammy system is that the pull pieces, your tuners, it's kind of like, I would say universal. It's like there's no stop party. In other words, here, let me just kind of give you an idea of what this thing has that these don't. What it has, instead of, your tuners up here, they're like back here, and they just turn. And you don't need to thread through the front or go through the back like on some of the Strats. Right here would be your tuner, but it would also be where you could thread your strings, and you don't have to cut the ball ends. You can just pop it, come out, and it's like a straight shot. I think that's a really cool idea, especially when you're going to do really quick string changes. If you pop a string during a live performance. I don't know how much the thing is. It's a mix of a brass and I think alloy. It's like a combination. So it's going to have, pretty good tone in that. But I saw that video Tone King had on, and I thought that was really cool. But I have no problems with this, Although I do admit sometimes you have to kind of pull back, But after a while when you're playing, you learn how to adjust to things. Because just remember, nothing's going to be perfect. Everything becomes perfect is when you're dead, you know what I mean? And I don't mean to sound morbid, but that's how it is. Yeah, I've had good luck for my knees using a $150 eBay multi. You know what? I'll tell you what. I do have that ME70 Electro Harmonics. Yeah, I have the ME50. One day I'm gonna put on the floor all the effect pedals that we got. I had found out when I run it through my solid state edition blue Hughes and Kettner, it's on how you EQ things. If you want like a good punchy sound, it really is how you EQ. Now, I will agree because I did see what Guitar Hack and he did that comparison. Oh yeah, you can hear right away. So I will agree to that. But if someone is on a budget and they don't have a whole lot of money, spend your money wisely. And don't put yourself, don't never piss off the wife, Happy wife, happy life. Always remember that. Yeah. Let's see. So, yeah, I used to have a Fisher tape deck with a guitar cable and yep. Sold it RCAN. Yep. I used to do that. Metal Thrash? That was one of my first tape decks. It was a Fisher tape deck. I took an Ibanez metal pedal and a delay pedal and ran it right into the mic input. And of course it had the volume adjust, your input volume. And it didn't sound great, but it didn't sound bad, It had a pawn shop Ibanez analog delay and liked it, but needs foots. Yeah. You know what? I know what delay you're talking about. I had an Ibanez analog rack mount, and it needed a foot switch. When I was in the top 40 band, I had all kind of stuff. I was young, Yeah, you know what, Janice? Yeah, you know what? Here's the deal with once you get used to it, you'll see that very seldom do I pop strings on any of these with the Floyd system, because I do not have a long distance with a hard 90 degree. Whenever you have a long distance with a hard 90 degree, and if you're doing any palm muting or rest the palm of your hand, you sweat, the string is going to go like that and it's going to break. So when you have a less distance, it's not going to break as much. That's kind of my theory on it, because I've been monitoring this and I've been noticing this. I never had pedals with my first electric rig. I thought it was the cat's meow, my amp, and built-in reverb. Yeah, Dale. That was our effects reverb. Kaler did it 30 years ago with the Killer Bridge. You know what? You're right. You're right, Dana. Do you remember, Dana, when Kaler first came out and people were getting the idea of putting them on their Les Pauls? A friend of mine did that. He took a nice big portion of wood out of that guitar, and he would complain ever since then. You know, Dave, I really like this whammy system, but man, my guitar, it's not sounding the same. You know? Super Sunburst and 1972 Sun Coliseum. Oh my God. Yeah. Dual 8-inch cabinet. Yep, can get decent distortion and shake the windows if turned up to 11. In 6th grade, how about it? Oh my God. With ME30, now ME70. Yeah, I still have my ME50 on my ME70. I'll tell you what I do like about them. They will run on batteries. If I had to do anything outside and there's no power, I could slap them and run into my Roland BA330 powered PA. What I do is I go through the headphone out, and you know it's more of a speaker emulated, and it kind of it takes the overdrive, that fizz, out of the overdrive and distortions, especially when you're playing through a speaker, powered PA speaker, because you have that tweeter in there. And man, you hit those highs, it'll sound like it's all fizzy, you know. I'm not a really big fan of that. Yes, input volume is very important to dial. Yep, yeah, big time. I use that delay rack mount for our school demo in a few short. Yeah. I tell you what, it worked great. Those things were working great. But see, that's what we had back then. And look, what we have right now, you watch and see, just give it 5 years. The way technology is rampant, it just changes. Just watch and see. That's why I don't jump on all these bandwagons. I mean, I'm not trying to call it a bandwagon. I think there's some great stuff out there. But I'll tell you what, I am not going to try to go to NAMM to solicit every company on every piece of gear that they have, to say, I got this, I got that, and then what's going to happen? I have to turn around and maybe I don't like it, or, you know, I'm not trying to tell people what to do, but me personally, if something works for me, I can get my job done, I get my gig done, I'm happy. I don't have to, you know, worry about it. Set it and go, you know? Because there's so much competition out there. There's way, way more pedals out there than we ever had in guitar companies, and, you know, makes you kind of wonder, where is it going to hit when is the bubble going to burst? You know? When is it going to just pop open and just, okay, now everyone's out of a job, you know? I hate to see that. Problem with too many effects, it is hard to find your sound because of option overload. Absolutely, old man Dan. In the case with this Digitech, it's got 99 presets, 99 users, all the kind of crap. I don't use half of what it's got. I like the Fender type of sound with the tube screamer. It sounds great. I love Fender amps. I like that punchy Marshall sound. I do like the fact that I can, you know, use percussion, the built-in drums in there. But with this bass patch, it is so much more than an octave divider. It is actually, you could feel the low end rumble. And I think Metal X he's got the RP355 that has that patch called Play Your Bass. And it's actually like very, very low end. And you could feel it. Some people might call it a toy. You call it what you want. But I'll tell you what, that toy has made me money. But when it comes down, if I want to talk dollars and cents, you know. And the creativity. When I had a situation, because I love to improvise, it just come up with stuff, bam, right on the fly. You know, that's what I like about it. Then Kaler, then Kaler came out with the flat mount bridge for the Les Paul. Yeah, that's what my friend had. Yeah, ME252 is a fighter plant. Yeah. Now, Ed, I also agree with you. I do agree with you with that. Excuse me, with that chord, Toneworks. The version that we have is the upgraded version. It's called the AX 1500G, something like that. And it's nice, but there's certain things in there that it's supposed to have like a tube screamer, and if for whatever reason you cannot get the actual overdrive to out be louder than the clean. It's like you have an overdrive and a clean guitar at the same time, and and it has no access to USB ports so you can download or anything. It's just the way it was made, you know. It was great when it worked. We bought that in what, 2002 or 2003, because my old Zoom 2020 player just totally crapped out. It's like, okay, we do have a couple of guitar synthesizers that I like using. You know, there's certain things, but it's got like 500 sounds. I'm not gonna sit there and play with 500 sounds. I mean, I just use what I need, and boom, that's it. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I stick with tried and true for the most part. I agree. I do agree. If it works, you don't have to worry about it. You set it and forget it, and boom. You know, that's why I don't. I'm glad more and more manufacturers are coming back to days where the amp either has a reverb or a chorus. You don't have to get in these menus. You know, because then you would really have to program that thing before the gig, and then it's always at the gig. Power goes out, and you lose memory, and then it's like trying to download a manual because there's no one prints manuals anymore. That's what I do like about the ME70. It's all knobs, and the ME80. It's knob based, you know. But I had pretty good luck with this Digitech, with this RP 360, and I could take in the chain and rearrange all my effects. I could have the Univibe go in front of the amp in the distortion to get more of the Robin Trower or Hendrix type of Univibe. So that's what I like about it. The only thing I wish they would have a better on-off for the wah pedal, because man, when you're doing volume swells, all of a sudden, click, you hit on the wah, you know, and you get these weird tones. That's the only thing. ME70 loop is too short. Yeah, it is. There's a lot of great loop pedals out there, and every amp should have reverb. I agree 100%, Ed. I'll tell you what amp I do like, and it's got great value. And I saw a pretty good demo on it. Pretty nice, lengthy demo. Believe it or not, is that Fender Champion 100 212s. Man, maybe put some Texas Heat speakers in there, or Swamp Things, or a couple Eminence other speakers that they have, and it'll really sound good. Because it has a good enough punchy sound, but at the same time, if you want those Fender clean sounds, it does have it. Another amp I do like a lot is that Fender Super Champ ×2. I saw a guy, Jack Forrest, I think his name is, he stuck a Eminence Ragin' Cajun 10-inch speaker in that thing. Wow, did that sound great. Again, it's a tube amp, so it has that sound. The knob bass is more intuitive, absolutely. The ME30 with the teeny LED is, let's see. Was hard to make quick changes on the fly, yeah. But if you think about it, all of these multi-effect units, they're just basically a glorified one. They're old school fly rigs. Now they're calling them fly rigs, When we did our gigs over in Europe, that's exactly what I took our, I forget what pedal I had. I think, God, I don't even remember what I had back then. It wasn't too far. It wasn't too long ago. That, and I did take my Boss RC20 XL loop pedal. Maybe I did take the ME50, I think. Yeah, that's what I took, the ME50. I could put batteries in it. I was able to put it in my pedal bag, slid it underneath the seat in front of me. My guitar, I had a nice padded gig bag. I put it in the overhead compartment on the plane, and we were good to go. Beggars can't be choosers, and when you're not the headlining act, don't be so demanding. Learn how to adapt, learn how to work with these people, and then you get the callbacks when the money's there. When the money's not there, that's why you won't get the callback, because no one's got money, unless you want to come up with about $6,000 or $7,000 to go over there again. Great experiences, but I don't want to always dish out if I don't have to. After a while, you start losing money. But yeah, it's the nylon string guitar definitely has a different tone. Some people do not like having this is a Fishman Classic 4 pickup system, and that's basically what it looks like. Notice I do keep my mids down a little bit so it doesn't sound so boxy. If I my battery's starting to go a little bit. I think it's not too bad. You know, so I have my my Breedlove acoustic guitar. I have the older one with just the letter B on the headstock. Passport with the Babinga back and sides. I think we paid like, I don't know, $600 for that thing. Workhorse. Totally reliable guitar, man. Totally reliable guitar. Like this. And the Yamaha NTX 700. I think the sun just came behind Pluto and it just knocked out a tower or something. Watching your vid on my phone, yeah. Oh, the one, let's see, the one you posted today. Oh, thank you so much, Janice. And you know, it'll say like the farewell gig. That restaurant, they sold. So the new owners take over on Monday. And we'll see if I go back there playing, you know. It's going to be up to the owners. We had a great 15-month solid run at that restaurant. Le Corte Bistro. I'll tell you what, in my opinion, the best restaurant I've ever seen down in Florida and would outdo a lot of places up in Chicago. Big time. The owners cared about their customers. They would greet you as you come in. They would thank you as you would leave. You know, the whole wait staff, everybody. Everything was top notch, you know. But the restaurant industry could be very tough, you know. And maybe they decided they wanted to pull out, and they're great people, though. I've got nothing but great things to say about them. I'm gonna miss that place, though. I'm gonna miss that place, though. Now, I'm not gonna stay on too much longer, guys. But this is the difference between when I do like the flamenco style, Moscato. I've got more of a freedom to do percussive, you know, where I have to tap. Okay, so the difference between I'm playing with the pick, where I want that syncopated rhythm, it's when I speed up. And I've had so many people ask me, you know, it's one thing with the dexterity, you know, with the fingers here, but to keep them in sync with each other, that's where it gets tough. But the more you work it, the better you get at it. But I've had actually people ask me more about my right hand technique when I play the rhythms than, you know, because basically I'm doing all alternate picking. You know, I mean, that pretty much is cut and dry, and it's just working when you cross strings, of course. 3 notes on one string, 1 note on the other. Now I played 6 notes, you know, but it's always that. But to try to explain this, it's when you speed it up. So when I used to get students asking me that, I would tell them, start very basic, like this. And of course I'd get the question about the pick, you know, if you're going to use the pick. When you go down, the point faces up. When you come back up, the point faces down. Because if you try to come up with the point facing up, it's you're digging into the string, and it's just, you're going to kill the strings, you know. And just start with something very, very simple that you can comprehend. Simple down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. That's all it is. And over the course of time, you'll be able to speed it up. But you can hear like percussion. And that's basically where I'm drawing it from. Because the guy that influenced me the most was Al Di Meola. And he had a killer right hand. Oh my God. You know. But anyways, my friends, I really appreciate all your support and tuning in and putting up with some of my nonsense and that. I did like to try to share all of our experiences if it could really help people out there. Because I've said this many times in the past. I've had friends lose money in this industry, lose their house, and then they start hating it. And it isn't the music. It isn't the playing it. The guitar has never done anything to us. It's other people that how the industry is. But if you love what you do, I'll never lose that passion because it is to me it is the ultimate way of expression. It really is, and there is so many great people out there, so many great guitar players. I've learned from beginners because it's their perception on how they approach it. So we are going to definitely take this evening off. It's long overdue. I was going to try to do something live, but I think we will definitely be live on Thursday evening. We got a couple friends from Chicago coming down visiting us down here, and they're going to sit in and do something. I'm going to try to check out that link that Joe Wentz had shown me, another way of going live without all these dropouts. Again, everyone subscribe to each other's channels, support everyone. This is what this whole platform is about, keeping things positive, keeping things real. And again, we appreciate everything you guys do. We hope you have a very great rest of the Thanksgiving weekend. And we will see you on Thursday. Until then, you guys take care, rock on. As always desire to inspire. Take care, and God bless, my friends. We will see you later. Take care now. Bye-bye.